this is kind of a general comment, it's very important not to go too much into this logic, the South has been doing badly, and the North is so amazing. If we look at the Corona crisis, for example, we see that, for example, Greece has been managing relatively well. So I think that's an important point to make, and we see a number of countries in the so-called north or the geographical north of the European Union which have had much bigger problems. So I think this is one point. Okay. Regarding parliament, regarding democracy in the EU, I think this is something where I take a kind of a middle position between Lorenzo and you, is in the sense that I think the subsidiarity principle is a very important one. So let's say putting everything on the upper level, on the European level, will not necessarily heal things. However, what I think is important, if we install such a fund, is that the European Parliament gets an oversight. I mean, parliamentary control on that one, also on what the money is spent, I think would be very important. So I think there is a mix here of points compared to what you mentioned earlier. Regarding expectations, and I think you made a very important point there, I agree that it is very important to communicate well regarding this fund, because, as you said, the Spanish probably understand something completely different than the Germans. And I think that expectation management will be a very important one. And this is in general true. I think the EU will help a lot, can help a lot, but it cannot solve all the problems itself. Many things or many reform agendas have to be done on the national level. So I think fund which strengthens conditionality and which encourages reform and helps to make a new start of the economy, a more modern economy, I think that would be very important and a very important function of the fund, because as you rightly imply, there is a reform necessity and some things have to be reformed very fundamentally, and you need more incentives to do that.
Thank you very much indeed. Let's bring in Lorenzo to get an Italian perspective on this one. In some way, do you feel the Italians, Spanish, the Greeks are being maybe unfairly targeted in this debate?
No, well, look, firstly, let me say that Germany, to some extent, France, certainly countries of the north, including the United Kingdom, have had several weeks ahead notice about COVID-19, whereas Italy has been the canary in the mine, as it were. It is the country that has suddenly discovered an outbreak of gigantic proportions. It's been the first democracy to test the meaning of a pandemic that demands a lockdown. It's been the first democracy to go into lockdown and to imagine the legal tools to mobilize a democracy of 60 million people in ways that have been truly unprecedented and borderline unconstitutional in a country that is not China.